Hello, welcome to the Jacksonville Wine Guide. Week number 3 now, video number 3. This week I am going with the Côtes du Rhône Red Blend from South Africa. Blend of 5 grapes, thought it was kind of interesting, brand new package. You can find this around town a little bit, but I actually just noticed that they've changed up the package, so figured I'd give it a try and let's take a look. So the grapes, in this case we have a blend of 5 grapes, 5 what are called Rhône grapes. You have mainly Syrah, a little bit of Cinsault, Mourvèdre, Grenache, and Carignan. Now, a few of those grapes you might recognise, a few of them you will not. But along with the labelling as well, it's pretty cool the way they've done it. They've actually telling you the percentage of the grapes, but they're also telling you what each grape brings to the wine itself. So they're saying Syrah is for structure, Cinsault is for softness, Mourvèdre is for spice, Grenache for fruit, and Carignan for freshness. So that's kind of cool that they're doing that. Now, there were no actual native grapes in South Africa, so everything has landed there from a different part of the world. So the wine itself, Côtes du Rhône is the actual brand, and then Fairview is the winery. They make a few different wines, all under this idea of the Rhône region of France. They've got a goat rôti named after the Côte Rôti, and then they've got a Côtes du Rhône village, Côtes du Rhône villages named after the Côte du Rhône village region of France. And it entered the market at a really interesting time, around about 1999. Right around the same time that the European authorities were really kicking off about people using terms like champagne for non-champagne or port for non-port wine produced in that region. So they were like, I have no idea what you're doing. You can't call your wine Côtes du Rhône, whatever. We've got the trademark on the Côtes du Rhône region of France. It sounds far too similar. And Fairview fired back and said, I have no idea what you're talking about. This is named off after goats that actually roam in our vineyards and then eat all the grapes. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, that's kind of their way of sticking a middle finger up at the European authorities, because they're using Rhône-style grapes, and obviously they're doing a play on words with that. But arguably, because of all the media coverage, the press attention that the wine received, it's actually been doing very well in the market, and for the longest time was the top South African wine actually imported into the US. Now, South Africa has actually got a very similar grape growing history to that of Australia. 1659, I believe, was around about when the first wines were made. 1659 being when the grapevines were actually planted. So, no half-decent native grapes were growing there. Everything had to be brought down from Europe. And so far as the grapes themselves, Pinotage for the longest time was the dominant force in red wines coming out of South Africa. Pinotage is actually a grape itself that's a cross between Cinsault and Pinot Noir. It's really, you don't find it too many other places in the world apart from South Africa, and arguably there's pretty good reason for that. It's fallen out of favour a little bit. You've seen more Cabernet and Shiraz. Those are really the two grapes to be looking for so far as red wines coming out of South Africa. And then so far as the whites go, we've got grapes like Chenin Blanc, which was really driving white wine sales in South Africa. Now you're starting to see more Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay. And the vineyards in South Africa, really, just because it's so hot and arid, everything in the south really needs to be a little bit closer towards the ocean, just because of the cooling effects of the actual wind that's coming off the ocean, because it's so hot and dry. The further inland that you go, everything needs to be just cooled down ever so slightly. So on to the best part, it's the tasting itself, in the good old William Yearwood red wine glass. Now we've got a screw cap, because they're obviously trying to make this wine as cool and trendy for the kids as possible. It's not just for Boone's Farm anymore, but you're starting to notice that a lot with South African wines as well, following in the steps of the Australian wine industry. Okay, so first thing I notice, plenty of bright colour to this wine. They're obviously just making it more like a fruit-forward style rather than big and rich and tannic and that kind of thing. The price on this wine is, I want to say I paid around about $12 from it, and you can find it around town quite a bit as well, so you shouldn't have any hard time finding it. So straight off the nose, like I said, plenty of bright fruit. I think more the strawberry and raspberry, but I think there's a bit of black fruit there as well, like blackberry. But I'm also getting a little bit of oak. And not overly oaked. I also get a touch of alcohol as well. Alcohol on this wine, I think, was around about 14%. So I'd say that's about average. Some wines hold their alcohol better than others, but again, for a $12 bottle, I wouldn't expect a huge amount. Okay, so medium in body. I think it does a good job representing both the old world of the Côte d'Ivoire region of France compared to the new world, if you will, being South Africa. And those flavours really continue. I'd say medium in body. I still get some of the leathery and like the old world kind of tones that I'd expect with the French wine region of the Côte d'Ivoire. And the blackberry definitely comes through as well. Medium in body really kind of hangs with you as well. So far as food pairing, I'm good with this wine by itself, but I almost need something French, casserole or something like that, duck, beef, something with a little bit of earth to it, like game, some wild game. But yeah, again, for $12, I really can't argue with this. And so the alcohol is there, but it's to me, I think it just it needs pairing up with something, like I say, casserole or something. So, check out the Jacksonville Wine Guide. Let me know what you think of these video reviews. I really want everybody's feedback. I'd like to see what works for you best. Really, is video reviews best? Is type reviews best? How would you prefer to read it? So yeah, please send me an email. So check out the JacksonvilleWineGuide.com. All right, cheers.